Hello folks, and welcome to Tech News Monday, episode 5. Let's go ahead and jump in. First things first, some YouTube/Google news here before we jump into our Samsung news. YouTube's CEO, Suzanne Wojcicki, just recently stepped down from her role and is passing the reign to Neil Mohan. She cited her family and some personal projects, along with other things, as the reasons why she is stepping down. Keeping it short, we will leave it at that on that front. Now, let's go ahead and loop back to our Samsung news here. Samsung just recently reported that the numbers of pre-orders on the Samsung Galaxy S23 series have actually surpassed those of the Samsung Galaxy S22 series, which of course is very impressive because if you remember, the S22 series pre-orders were essentially double the numbers of those of the S21 series at the time, which of course means that with the S23 series doing even better than the S22 series pre-orders, the numbers are way past double the numbers of pre-orders of the S21 series, which is just insane, because all of this is happening despite the fact that Samsung doesn't have or has not had great trade-ins on these newer phones. But, of course, that was specifically in the case of the US market. They had some pretty decent trade-in deals everywhere else. But overall, whether we're talking bad trade-ins or good trade-ins, Samsung seems to be hitting some very impressive numbers with this launch of this new iteration of their flagship phone. Now, on another quick note here, when I made my first impressions or my hands-on video on the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, I told you that Samsung was pretty much killing the game this year. Remember, I told you that, and that was kind of the general consensus. Well, it certainly seems like everyone is agreeing to that, because out of all of the pre-orders that were made on this new series, the S23 Ultra makes up to 60% of all orders, or all of the pre-orders. That is very telling when it comes down to this phone here. Where do I have it? The S23 Ultra. But anyways, in other news, still sticking with Samsung here, there is a South Korean publication that just reported that we are likely going to see another iteration of the fan edition of Samsung phones after all. Now, if you are familiar, you may remember that there wasn't one last year, right? The FE model. But it looks like Samsung is likely going to revive this series, and it will be the Galaxy S23 FE. Or maybe they even call it the S22 FE. Who knows? But either way, it's supposed to drop sometime in August or September of this year. It will function a little bit like what we have with the tablets, right? With the Samsung Galaxy Tab S7 FE, which is a little bit more affordable. So the S23 or S22 FE will be the more affordable version of the current S23 series. Additionally, here it is said that it's actually going to play a double role by also being a replacement to the Galaxy A70 series, which is the highest end of the Samsung A series. So essentially, it will double up as the S22 or S23 FE, and also the Galaxy A74 as well. Now, still sticking with Samsung budget phones here, since I just mentioned the A70, it is said that the Samsung Galaxy A24 is going to drop also very soon. And this upcoming budget phone is not necessarily new, simply because we already saw some previous leaks and renders on this model before, but the newer leaks suggest that these will be actually sooner than expected. And as you take a look at the render here, you'll see that from the back of the phone, it will align with the current S23 series with individual cameras, but from the front, of course, you'll be able to tell that it's a budget model. Now, that's enough on Samsung news here. Let's go ahead and switch over to some Apple news. It looks like we have some new leaks on the upcoming iPhone, the Apple iPhone 15. It seems like we are likely going to see some design changes here, and from the renders, we can see more of rounded edges here, along with what appears to be even thinner bezels. That's always a good thing. Now, it looks pretty neat, on these renders here, but we also wait to see what the final product will look like. Now, it does seem like we will still have that dynamic island on it, but there's going to be another slight design change on the side buttons, but we'll wait to see. Now, with all of this said, the biggest design change that we will see on the iPhone 15 here is going to be the addition of the USB Type-C port. Now, all this being said, we know that if it's not proprietary, then it ain't Apple, and Apple is not going to do it. And what I mean by that is that there are chances that this USB Type-C port on the upcoming iPhone 15 will not be your typical standardized USB Type-C port. Now, I'm not sure what type of specific complications Apple will be adding to this, but from the leaks, apparently Apple is going to restrict data transfer, charging, connectivity, and so forth only to approved type USB Type-C cables. So that's going to be pretty fun and not really surprising coming from Apple. But then again, nothing confirmed just yet. Anyways, that is all for this edition of Tech News Mondays. I will have more in our next episode. I will stay updated so that you stay updated. Up until that next episode, of course, as always, stay safe out there.